All right, I got the thumbs up. Good morning, everybody. Thank you once again for joining us for 1 million cups this morning. I didn't get a lot of sleep last night. Thank you to our sponsors, Starting Block, for their continued support, and Dream Bank for the space. One quick reminder, if you don't mind, go ahead and grab the 1 Million Cups app and make sure to check in. I'm your host, Trezzy, one of the organizers here, and I'm going to run us around the room before we kick off the presentation to do some quick introductions. Give us your name, a little bit about yourself, and we'll move on to the next person. Again, I'm Trezzy. I'm one of the co-organizers and the MC here at 1 Million Cups. I'm also a software engineer.
My name is Josh Helling. I'm a co-founder of Rootstock Partners. We work with non-technical founders and executives on software product strategy, and I'm also one of the co-organizers here.
My name is Joey Frayne. I work for the Wisconsin Economic Development Corporation, manage a couple of programs geared towards early stage startups, generally ones looking to raise capital from outside investors, and co-organizer as well.
I'm Ben Winters. I work at FoodChain. I recently graduated from UW Madison.
Kurt Peterson, co-founder of 32 Auctions, a platform for hosting and managing silent auction fundraisers.
I'm Jenny. This is my first time here. Hi. I am the owner of Ads Uncorked. I specialize in Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn ads for business owners.
Hi, good morning. I'm Susie Uncle. I'm program director of Early Mentors, and I help connect early stage entrepreneurs with experienced mentors.
I'm James Kidman at Calls on Call, a shared reception service for small businesses.
Carl Lippert, just moved our startup here to Madison. We do a platform for animal feed.
Dennis Barnum, I'm with Merlin Mentors.
I'm Derek Ebler, co-organizer, and I work at Town News.
Kaylee Rice, I teach programming at Madison College and also run my own software business.
Jason McCullough, I'm a startup attorney.
Angie Allen with Riley Peter Conventions and Weaver.
Chuck Satter, intellectual property attorney at
John Ugair, Merlin Mentors, involved in some office area director and several startups.
And with that, we're going to kick off our Accidental Agriculture Month with FoodChain. So let's hear it for Ben.
Hey guys, Ben Winters. I'm co-founder and CEO of FoodChain, where we try to use technology, or try to leverage technology to combat food distribution systems currently in place, in order to encourage smarter farming and smarter sourcing in the United States. So the problem, landscape, and idea genesis for this project came from, we were working on a class project and an entrepreneurial project, and we were tasked with using existing technologies to combat some sort of social issue. And so during our research, we kind of found these three trends in the food industry that we found pretty interesting and wanted to capitalize upon. The first being food network consolidation, as 4% of farms account for 2/3 of production in the United States, which shows that there's large corporate farms running the American food system. Secondly is the food travel distance remaining relatively stagnant over the last 20 years, as it takes about 2,000 miles for food to get from the farm to the consumer's plate on average. And lastly, we saw that the demand for local goods was actually consistently growing year after year. And we saw that last year, grocers noticed the demand of $20 billion in local food, which they were not able to meet, not because there wasn't enough local products, but because they don't have enough access to these local markets to get these products. Because of this, we were able to develop FoodChain, which is a digital solution startup focused on making local sourcing easier and more efficient for both wholesale purchasers and producers. So our business provides 4 key core benefits upon launch that we believe add a great amount of value to both the purchaser as well as the producer. The first being a mobile market. We're creating a mobile marketplace where all local foods and local produced products can be offered to wholesale purchasers. And this, we feel, as though streamlines the sales process for both sides. We've noticed that when with local sourcing, it takes a lot of time and energy to create connections with farms, and it's really hard to make these connections without going to the farmers market or going one-on-one to meet up with farmers. By putting this all online, we feel as though we streamline this process and make it much more efficient to find connections and make purchases and increase sales for these farmers. Secondly, we curate logistics. We've partnered with Golden Produce within Madison to be our distributive partner. And a major issue we found for producers is that if they're locally working with wholesale purchasers, they have to travel business to business to deliver their products. This takes a lot of time and is incredibly inefficient, as sometimes producers have to wait outside a restaurant for up to an hour to get a $30 sale. By partnering up with RE Golden Produce, we are able to allow farmers to spend more time on their farms and less time delivering their products by just having a one spot drop-off point for all of their sales in one day, and then they can get right back to the farm. The third benefit would be the knowledge of vendors and purchasers through the online profiles of these businesses. We realize that a major part of locally sourcing is being able to tell the story of that product. And by having this all online and easily accessible, we feel as though purchasers and vendors can utilize the value of what they're getting from their products easier and be able to show that to their future customers. A fourth benefit we've seen is the streamlined invoicing process. Most of the invoicing in this industry is entirely physical, and that causes for a lot of inefficiencies, as well as when you locally source as a wholesale purchaser, you're going to receive various invoices from all the different farmers, which cause for confusion and long payment periods. But putting this all online onto one account, we feel as though we make this much more efficient and easier to understand and keep track of. Here are a couple screenshots from our marketplace and our invoicing system. They're pretty simple to start. We're just working on building out this MVP, and hopefully we can make it a little more visually appealing as we go forward. So this is our operations map in terms of how it works. Producers will log into FoodChain and list their products online, as well as purchasers will log into FoodChain to browse our catalog and purchase their products online. And from there, producers will drop off the product at the Golden Produce warehouse, and where then Golden will deal with the last mile distribution and handling of the products. So the revenue model for our business is relatively lean. So our four main target customers are going to be restaurants, grocery stores, corporate campuses, and institutions. Because we're super digital, we don't have as much costs to incur. We have legal and licensing costs that occur when you're handling and broking produce and other foods. And then we have technological maintenance, as we are entirely digital, and we try to make our product as easy to use as possible for tech-resistant industry, as well as just not having any issues. We derive our revenues from two main fees, or two main areas. The first being tech service fee. So we feel as though we can charge a slight fee to both our purchasers and producers for offering all our online and digital products, which will be the initial way we seek to receive money. And then going forward, as we start to scale, we hope to implement a data analytics program trying to help farmers understand when demand is higher for their products than other times, and so that they can plan their planning schedules around that in order to maximize yield and sales, as well as increase profits. Traction for this project has been pretty exciting. We've graduated from two early stage accelerator programs, Changemaker Institute in New Orleans and the Discovery to Product Igniter program out of Madison. Both of these projects have kind of helped us gear ourselves towards our early launch. We're hoping to get a soft launch in either October or November this year, and try and get a pilot test out there. So going to that pilot test, we've kind of had three major partnerships we've developed in order to make ourselves most appealing for this group of concepts. We've partnered with Wisconsin Food Hub Co-op and Fifth Season Co-op, together combining to have over 100 farms for us to provide a large amount of quantity and seasoned wholesale distributors, so that we are able to provide consistent local produce to our purchasers, at least initially. and our Golden Produce as our distributed partner. They allow us for us to not have any physical space or ever to touch the product, as well as they are experts, especially in last mile distribution within Madison's market. In other attractions, we've raised up to around $2,000 in grants. This is mostly from the Changemaker Institute. We conducted over 100, 150 local interviews, and our marketplace is currently being developed. That's pretty much the biggest thing that's holding us back from launch currently. We hope to have that done in the next 2 to 3 weeks. So our team is, the founders are me and Jake Levitt. Jake Levitt just graduated from Tulane. I graduated from Wisconsin, and together we kind of formed this idea. Jake grew up in Switzerland, in between a vineyard and a farm, so he had a lot of exposure to these industries, and then coming to America kind of saw some fields where he wanted to implement himself. He started in finance but wasn't feeling as fulfilled there, and he had the idea, genesis of this project, from which I joined on. And then we're also doing all of our software development in-house, so that's led by Jake Burson, who's our CTO, and Blake Finn, who's our lead developer. As we know, we're pretty young. We're trying to build out a complex advisory board of some people that have been helping us out in the field. We have some other advisors, these guys in question marks. We have those guys in mind. We just don't want to put anyone's name on a slide without kind of running it by them. But Dave Heidi, who's a champion of local sourcing in the Madison area, he's been a great mentor to us, and he's going to be our culinary advisor for this project and kind of help give us insight on what restaurants think and how they operate. And he's been very helpful with getting introductions around the city. Once again, we have our farm side advisor. We're just waiting on formally agreeing on it, and we are excited to announce those in the future. In terms of what we're seeking, in terms of help from people here and anyone in Madison, is we are looking for introductions to food and beverage purchase decision makers at local corporate campuses, including American Family Insurance. We've recently got in touch with ProMega, and we're looking to get in touch with Epic and some of the other guys. Other early stage purchasing partners, that can be restaurants or pretty much any wholesale purchaser that would be open to considering working with a new startup in this industry. We are also looking to introductions to medium-sized local value-added producers, so not just farmers, but we're looking for people that produce cheese or pasta or something like that, because this gives us year-round product as well as diversifies our portfolio. And then we're also seeking introductions to any web developers who are open for new work. As we're doing this in-house, the marketplace in-house, we feel as though any manpower we can get would be beneficial, as this is our main drawback right now. And that's all I got for today.
Questions? Dennis?
I'm assuming that one of the advantages of farm to table, or whatever they call it, is that there's a differentiation in what the farmers produce locally, and not every head of lettuce is like every other head of lettuce type thing. How do you differentiate? How do you promote the value added of an individual farmer and vet the what they say is the quality of their product or the differentiation?
Yeah, so on the finance side, we have seen, research has shown that consumers are willing to pay up to 30% more for local food. So we kind of market that to purchasers as the reason why you might want to buy locally. And then secondly, we kind of, it's hard to market that entirely because it's so intrinsic, but we try and utilize the values of like Wisconsin culture and whatnot to show that like local produce, I mean, we just think that it shows for itself if you purchase it.
Well, I'm asking more about the differential. Assuming you've bought into the buying local thing, let's accept that. How do you differentiate between farmer A, who's producing romaine, and farmer B, who's producing romaine, and they think that it's different, their product's different than the other guy, and try to sell that to a restaurant why they should use their romaine lettuce? how do you vet that sort of thing so that, or do you let them market it, or?
So it's both. We help market their products because we understand that farmers aren't going to be super tech savvy, so we're going to be working with every single farmer, especially early on, to make sure all their information is listed. So we're going to have all the different grades of the products online to make sure that people understand.
But who grades that?
Well, they have to get, they grade it themselves, and then we verify it, and then there's also the online review system.
And that's where I'm getting. How do you verify that?
Through purchaser reviews.
Okay.
So we're going to do the online system where purchasers kind of leave reviews of the products to kind of micromanage our purchasers, or our producers for that matter. And so then by doing that, people can see that other guys have either been happy with their product or unhappy with their product, which will kind of be another marketing factor for them.
But you're going to let the crowd evaluate that as opposed to providing any
we're
kind
also
of
going to have like a
verification.
customer support line and stuff like that. So if there were issues with the product, we would be able to handle that kind of swiftly.
Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thank you.
In terms of web development, what technologies are you using?
I know we're building on WordPress, and we're using I want to say WooCommerce. We're kind of customly building on that. I don't know a ton about that stuff. I'm not the guy that knows all about that, but I think that's pretty much the.
I'm just thinking in terms of if you're looking for people.
Yeah, I know. I didn't even need to know that.
Josh?
Have you had an opportunity to sort of test the reception of this on the purchaser's side, on like the restaurant side?
Yeah.
Been able to have them use prototypes or?
We haven't been able to have any prototypes in the news yet. We definitely talked to a good amount of purchasers, and they all seem pretty open to the idea, or actually pretty receptive to the idea. We do realize that there's going to be some sort of kind of fallback in terms of there's going to or disconnect between people who wanted to do it and actually converting to do it because it's kind of a different system. But once we get our MVP built out, we are planning a meeting with our culinary advisor, Dave Heidi, and then go running through every step and then continue to show it to other purchasers. And we have some early mentors in the restaurant industry that we also hope to talk to about that.
James?
Can you talk about how you make money, or how the business makes money? Are you getting paid from the farmers or from the restaurants?
We're getting paid from both sides. We're taking a small fee, and we can afford to take a very small fee now because we're entirely digital and never touch the product. But we do feel as though we provide value to both sides through our technological solutions.
Just percentage based?
Yeah. We recently are coming to this agreement with Golden Produce for being a distributing partner. So we're working out their percentage, and then we're going to figure out ours. But we're most likely going to be charging 0% of service fees, at least upon launch, because we've been targeting things to scale up. So we don't know exactly what we're going to be charging as of yet.
Seems like you have a little bit of a chicken and egg thing going on here, where you've got producers and you've got purchasers.
Yeah.
What's your strategy for launching so that you can get traction on the product?
Yeah, so obviously the network effect is going to be one of our biggest issues, but we feel as though our two partners, these two co-ops, provide us with 100 farms that are used to dealing with a decent amount of wholesale purchases. So those guys are going to be a great foundation for us. And then as we start to get more purchasers, we're also going to be marketing to farmers and other producers and tell them, once we have the MVP, we're going to be actively doing it on both sides. And hopefully we are able to use those existing 100 farms to help build out the network effect and get some people to.
Joey, did you have a question, or were you scratching your nose? Okay, so you've got a nose scratcher over there. Josh?
Yeah, my nose is good. Do producers bring the food to Golden after an order's been placed?
Yeah,
Okay.
so all products that are moving have already been purchased, at least upon launch. We're going to be considering a consignment option going forward. We'll talk about Golden about that. But yeah, so all products that have been purchased will be dropped off at Golden's warehouse on the belt line, which is kind of convenient for all farmers and whatnot. And from there, they're going to handle all the products.
what's the typical time that you expect to see between when somebody places an order and when the product arrives at the door? So, can they order same-day delivery, or do they have to order, a week out, 2 weeks out?
We expect to be a 24-hour turnaround. We haven't really been able to figure out a way to do same-day delivery with this system, but we know that most of the time restaurants order on Wednesdays and Saturdays or Tuesdays and Saturdays, but they order on those days and they set out like calendars or schedules for when they want those products to arrive, and following that we can plan our distribution with that. There's like our online system will allow farmers to understand when their products should be dropped off and when they are not supposed to be dropped off, and from there we can get the products into our purchasers' hands in the right schedule.
It seems like availability of product on the producer's side might be unusually complicated in this space, right? If I'm making a shelf-stable widget, I have an inventory and it's at a certain level until it's drawn down by sales. If I'm picking lettuce, I have an inventory until it's drawn down by sales, or however many days I can keep the lettuce good passes. So it seems to me like that would introduce some interesting challenges from the platform's perspective. How are you dealing with that? Like,
So,
I'm the producer, how do I manage that?
Initially, we just have a pretty simple interface dealing with inventory. So you enter how much you have, automatically decreases based on sales, and then say your product puts out after a week. We would hope that our producers are going to change that, or are going to update the amount of inventory. But we are also working on a tool that will have inventory that lasts a certain amount of days, and then that will expire and the inventory will run out. But I don't think that we're going to be able to have that for our initial MVP. That is something we've considered and hope to implement into the system.
Can you talk about pricing from each individual farmer? Do you guys set the farmer or the price for a head of lettuce, or does the individual farmer?
We are letting the farmers set their prices for their products. We feel as though that will make the most competitive marketplace.
So some will be higher and some will be lower?
Yeah, so I guess some people are going to be charging less and more for each product, and also we're going to have farmers able to set prices for different purchasers, so we can curate different relationships as that kind of happens in this kind of industry. But yeah, so we have all the farmers kind of setting their own prices and allowing for the market to kind of be met at price equilibrium with demand, supply, and quality.
Just following up on that, so are you guys going to be in the middle of all of those pricing adjustments, pricing changes, price kind of negotiations, where you have to go in and make the changes on your site, or are you going to enable the producers themselves to make those changes so that you can kind of
Yeah, so producers, initially at least, the producers are going to be kind of dealing with all the pricing and stuff like that. We believe that if they want to sell their product, they're going to try and put it at a competitive price, but not try and get undercut too much. So we hope that they are going to make the competitive price, and then we know there's a hyper-competitive market, but we'll definitely have some like restrictions on pricing strategies and ways that people can undercut other people. But we're definitely going to allow for these producers to make a competitive market in terms of pricing strategies.
But on the platform side, are you planning to give them like a login where they can go in and update these are the products that are available, here's the prices I want to charge, or is that something that your team is planning to manage?
So every vendor will have their own online profile with like a farm or business bio to kind of explain and demonstrate what they do, and then we also are going to be working alongside them kind of on the back end. They won't really ever see it. We're going to kind of aid them in their digital health, and so like if they are not updating their stuff as well as they should be, because some producers are going to end up being less technologically savvy as others, or focused on this for that matter. So we're going to kind of be able to take a case by case. We're hoping to allow these vendors to have as much control as they will need, and then help give them any need they don't.
So I'm assuming like you're planning to launch in Madison. What's kind of the plan after that? You have other markets you're looking at? So
yeah, so Madison is a great location in terms of food distribution because we're within trucking distance of Chicago, Milwaukee, Indianapolis, and Dubuque, all four pretty big cities, bigger than Madison. And so we aim to hopefully use the hub here to access those four cities, and we think that Wisconsin is the second most organic farms in the United States. So we're hoping to use this pool to kind of feed into those cities. And then once we try, if we're scaling above that, we're going to try and have different distributed partners and outside of other cities, like outside of every city that we try and enter, we try and use as many local as possible. We're not sure if we're going to either continue to partner up with distributors or eventually vertically integrate our distribution. That's unclear as of right now, but we're opening both channels for that.
What are like your ideas about like combating seasonality for all the vegetable products? Like everything that's not dairy or meat, they can't opt into it locally except for when it works.
Yeah.
So how do you keep people coming back to the platform when they have to off the platform like every winter to get anything that's created from California?
So one thing is that there's seasonality in products, and so we're trying to like push the idea that unfortunately you can't have all the kinds of products all year round if you want to be sustainable and like regionally like viable or considerate, I guess. So we're going to be, there are products that are available in the winter and stuff like that, so we're going to be pushing those. We're trying to bring on some farmers with like a lot of indoor farming areas. They have like year-round, I forget the name of the farm, they have year-round tomatoes and stuff like that. And then having a bunch of different produced products that are available year-round, such as cheese, meat, and like pasta and such, we feel as though will be valuable for our year-round catalog. And then also working with Golden Produce gives us a lot of power, because when they don't have products, they can just work with a distributor they already have or already it's going to be delivered to them and just be like, yeah, we need this stuff, and they go to commodity markets and sell commodity products. That allow us to not kind of fall through on all of our purchasers, but also be able to access products.
Got time for 2 more questions. Josh.
Contractually, does the producer end up in a relationship with Golden, you, the end customer, or some combination of the above?
It's a combination. We're working with the L&E clinic here to build out those legal contracts and stuff. We never own any products. The contract is mainly between the producer and the purchaser, and then Golden Produce is kind of acting as like an administrator almost, because they are going to be overseeing the acceptance rejection process on the purchaser side. So they kind of have a lot of power in this field. But so if someone doesn't pay, the finances kind of fall into the vendors. We're not kind of financially, contractually in any of these agreements, but we kind of handle all that, and we're going to deal with payment issues early on. So we're going to do ACH pulls and whatnot through our site. All the payments through our site, but we're not contractually into that stuff.
Last one. Okay, we'll call. Thanks, Ben, for coming to present. It's here for FoodChain. And I hope that I was sleepy, so I was smart enough to put this in my line of sight this morning. So Ben, before you take off, this is sort of our thank you for coming to present. Reminders, if you haven't already, make sure to grab the 1 Million Cups app and check in. Ben, are you going to be hanging out for a little bit after the presentation? Great, so if anybody wants to catch up with Ben, feel free to pop on up here. Otherwise, everybody have a great rest of your day, and thanks for coming.